Welcome on in. Apologize for the delay in posting these videos. I've been a little sick over the weekend, but hopefully enough time at least tonight and tomorrow. Hopefully you've done this a few times and this is more just to verify your solutions or if there's a couple problems you're stuck on. Right, so we'll start on number 1. And I'm going to go back and forth here to this and then OneNote. So let's see. It says, in some of these we might be able to solve. We'll just talk about. So it says, Alonzo ordered some books online and spent a total of $89. Each book costs $5. So when it says each book, you could think of that as a variable cost. For every book that he buys, it's another $5. And he paid a total of $4 for shipping. $4, you could think of this as a fixed cost. Doesn't matter how many books he sends, right? He's going to pay that $4. How many books did he buy? Right, okay. So, and that's a pretty good deal, by the way, on shipping. You just got to pay $4 regardless how many books you buy. And it says he spent $89 overall, right? So we have $5 times every book that he buys, plus this $4 fixed cost is going to get us the $89 that he spent. So it says write an equation that could be used, choose the appropriate form, etc. Let B be the number of books. And now in part B, it says, well, let's go ahead and solve for B, right? So we just need to get B here by itself. So we do need to do part A, and then we'll do here part B. So I'm going to jump over. I have 5B plus 4 is equal to 89. Let's see if I can get this to work here. There we go. Uh-oh, we don't want all this other work. We want a new page. There we go. 5B plus 4 is equal to 89. And so let's go ahead. We're going to subtract 4 on each side. Or if I do it to the left side, I got to do it to the right side. The good news is, the reason why I did the minus 4 is this will go away. And I'm left with 5b is equal to 85. At this time, right, I want b by itself. I divide by 5, again on both sides. And I will end up with b is equal to 17. Right, and this is telling us that he bought 17 books. And again, feel free to slow this down, pause the video. I'm going to keep moving, just there is 17 questions, so I want to try to make these shorter videos. Let's go ahead and go back. So he bought 17 books. Awesome. We're on to the next one. So question 1. Let's go ahead, we'll go back to question 2. And so this video will probably have the first so many. Let's get this out of the way. I don't think you can see it, but it says graph the set, and let's read this together. So this is the set of all x values, right? And this is our x number line here, such that this bar is read as such that x is between 0, so it's greater than 0, and less than or equal to 4. So pay attention to the inequalities here. That's what it's testing you on, right? So it says it's greater than 0, and so because it doesn't have an equal sign, it's an open dot. Right, no equal to sign means open dot, but it is less than or equal to 4, and so we'll go put another dot on 4, but notice here it is a closed dot, right? Anytime we have the solid line underneath for equal, we are going ahead and put a closed dot. And it looks like we want to be between these two values, right? Greater than 0, but less than or equal to 4, and so we're going to fill in the space in between. You can always do this by checking, right? Meaning I could take a value on one of these intervals, for instance, let's say 2, and I could plug it in here for x, and it should make sense that 2 is greater than 0, but it is less than or equal to 4. Right, so you can always plug this in. And it says over here, it just wants us to write out our values. And then it says write using interval notation, right? So again, we want to put all these things together. The open dot here at 0 gets a parenthesis, and the closed dot gets a bracket, right? Open dot parenthesis, closed dot bracket. Less than, open dot, greater than, open dot, less than or equal to, right? That equal to is what gets the closed dot, which is what gets the bracket. All right, let's keep it moving. Number 3. Okay, so I will go over to the whiteboard for this one. Right, it says V is v divided by negative 2 is greater than or equal to 5. And there's a very basic principle here that we need to remember when we divide or multiply by a negative sign with inequalities. Right, so let's go ahead. I'm going to copy this down. V divided by negative 2, and it's greater than. V divided by negative 2, and it's, I believe it was greater than or equal to, short-term memory. Let's see. Greater than or equal to 5, okay. Just 5. And so all we have to do here is I need to get rid of this negative 2, right? This is what's causing me the issue. I want v by itself. And so what I'm going to do to both sides is multiply by negative 2. And so now we have this cancellation here. And we have v is, I'm going to pause on the inequality, right? This is negative 10 over here. Now, if you divide or multiply by a negative sign with an inequality, the inequality is just going to change directions, right? So now we have v is less than or equal to negative 10. V is less than or equal to negative 10. Less than or equal to negative 10. Right, so again, be careful. That inequality, very easy to forget. It changes directions when dividing or multiplying by a negative value. Let's go ahead. We'll keep moving here. It says introduction to the power of a power rule of exponents. Okay, so we have w to the 5th raised again to the 3rd, and this is a very nice property here. Right, let's go ahead, we'll write this down. So we have w to the 5th, all raised to the 3rd. And the property that, all that we have to do here, right, let's write down this property on the side, make it abstract. If you have a to the b, all to the c, it's just a to the b times c, right? You're just gonna multiply these numbers together, right? So w to the 15th. So this is the rule that we're testing on. The other rule that you could see here, it's not in this problem, I believe, but if you have something that looks like this, right, an a to the b times an a to the c, you have a to the b plus c, right? So in other words, if we had something like this, or let's use the w's here. Let's use the w's since that's what they have. Let's say w to the 5th, and let's pretend this is a w to the 3rd. This now becomes w to the 5 plus 3, or w to the 8th. But that's not what this problem is about. I'm just showing you this other property in case it comes about. It shouldn't in this problem, though. So we have w to the 15th. Right, just multiplying those numbers together. Okay, I believe, let's see what number that was. That was number 4. We're going to do 6 of them here, and then I'll make another video for the following ones. So let's do 2 more problems here, just so it splits it up nicely. Okay, so we have 2 binomials, right, multiplying binomials, and so we're working on this distribution property with each one of these. So we have 2c plus 1 and a c minus 7. I'm going to jump back to the whiteboard. 2c plus 1 and c minus 7. And it wants us to just distribute everything out, right? So I'm going to start with the 2c. And 2c needs to be distributed to the c and the minus 7. So if I distribute it first to the c, I get 2c times another c, 2c squared, so that's this one and this one. And now if I take the 2c times a negative 7, I'm going to get, let's just write it out. We won't even skip any steps here, right? 2c times negative 7. And now we also have 1 times c. Well, that, I'm going to simplify that, right? 1 times c is just c. And I also have 1 times negative 7. And so in that case, 1 times negative 7, right? A negative 7. And let's see if we can start to simplify a little bit. 2c times negative 7 minus 14c plus c minus 7, and we always want to finish with combining like terms. And so we have 2c squared minus 13c minus 7. 2c squared minus 13c minus 7. And again, I know I am going quick, so again, please pause the video, slow down the video, or, right, if you're fine with this, skip to the ones that you need to. You don't need to watch the whole thing all the way through. So let's do one more. This is all the exam prep, right? I'll see if I can find a few different variations here, right? So now we just did the distributing, and now it says, well, if we set this equal to 0, right now we want to go the opposite direction and find the factors here. So I have w squared minus 9w plus 14. And I'll see if I can do two of these. W squared minus 9w plus 14. And I can talk about the way I go about it and any other methods. Let's see. W squared minus 9w plus 14 is equal to 0. Okay, so the way I try to go about these problems is I'm looking for two numbers that multiply to be 14. Let's just label those out, right? I got 1 and 14, that's the nice one. I have 2 and 7. I could write down 7 and 2, but that's fine, right? And I could write down 14 and 1. There's no other numbers that are going to multiply to be 14. And so I'm going to write out my brackets, or my parentheses. I know that the only way to split up a w squared is, well, w has to go here and a w has to go here. It's the only possible way to split up that w squared. And so I'm looking for two numbers that multiply to be 14. Well, I have my options over here. And they have to add up to be negative 9. Well, in this case, right, my 2 and 7 here add up to be a positive 9. But remember, if I have two negatives, right, negative 2 times a negative 7, that'll also be a positive 14. And so I'll put a minus 2 and a minus 7. And it does not matter the order these are written in, meaning if I wrote w minus 7 times a w minus 2, that would also be fine. Now, we're not quite done with the problem. A very easy mistake to make is go, well, here's our solutions, right? W is equal to negative 2 and w is equal to negative 7. What we need to do now is take each one of these individually and set them equal to 0, right? And from this, we will now get w is equal to positive 2 and w is equal to positive 7. So we have two answers. You can always go verify your answers, right? If you take 2 and 7 and go plug them back into your original equation up here, you'll get a true statement, right? So if I plug in 2, just to give you an example, right? If I plug in 2, for instance, and I get 2 squared minus 9 times 2 plus 14 equals 0, this should be a true statement, right? 4 minus 18 plus 14, and you'll see that you'll indeed get 0 equals 0, right? This is a true statement. So I know that w equals 2. I've verified that it is a solution. You can go ahead and do that for w equals 7 if you'd like. Again, I'm going to try to keep these videos as short as I can so that you can slow them down, go through them, but I don't want to spend any extra time since I know we have the exam tomorrow, 2 and 7. Let's go ahead and check. And we are good. Okay, so that takes us to the end of the video. That's our first 6 questions. In the next video, I'll do the next 6. And then finally in the last one, I'll do the last 5. So I will see you in the next video.